There exists within you right now a power so profound, so absolute, that it can transform poverty into prosperity, limitation into liberation, dreams into destiny. This power has been used by every great fortune ever built, every empire ever established, every breakthrough ever achieved. It's not found in universities or textbooks. It's not taught in business schools or seminars. It's not reserved for the privileged few or the exceptionally gifted. This power is your imagination, not the childish fantasies most people mistake for imagination, not the idle daydreaming that leads nowhere, but the disciplined, directed, creative force that Napoleon Bonaparte called the most powerful force, the same force that transformed a telegraph operator named Andrew Carnegie into the richest man in America, the same force that lifted a rail splitter named Abraham Lincoln to the presidency, the same force that turned a bankrupt cartoonist named Walt Disney into a multimedia empire. They understood what most people never discover. Imagination is not separate from reality. It is the invisible workshop where reality is. Every dollar you will ever earn, every freedom you will ever enjoy, every success you will ever achieve must first be created in the laboratory of your imagination before it can manifest in. But here's what they never taught you. Wealth and freedom are not things you acquire. They are states of consciousness you inhabit. They are not destinations you reach. They are ways of being you. They are not rewards you earn. They are realities you imagine in existence through the sheer force of sustained, vivid, emotionally charged mental imagery. Look at John D. Rockefeller, born to a con man father and a devoutly religious mother, raised in poverty so severe that his family moved constantly to escape creditors. What did he possess that others lacked? Not education, he never finished high school. Not connections, he knew no one of influence. Not capital, he started with nothing. What he possessed was the ability to imagine himself wealthy with such clarity, such intensity, such unwavering conviction that his imagination literally restructured reality to match his. While other young men saw themselves as employees, Rockefeller imagined himself as an owner. While others saw themselves as workers, he imagined himself as a leader. While others saw themselves as poor, he imagined himself as prosperous. His imagination didn't just create wealth. It created the Standard Oil Company, which at its peak controlled 90% of America's oil refining capacity. This is the first law of wealth creation. What you imagine with feeling becomes your experience. Your imagination is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's not entertainment, it's the most practical tool you possess. It's not optional, it's the very mechanism through which consciousness creates reality. But imagination without direction is powerless. It's like having a Ferrari without a destination. All that potential energy going nowhere. You must imagine specifically, deliberately, with laser-like focus on exactly what you want to. Vague imagination produces vague results. Specific imagination produces specific results. Henry Ford didn't just imagine success, he imagined putting every American family in an automobile. Thomas Edison didn't just imagine invention, he imagined illuminating the world with electric light. Colonel Sanders didn't just imagine a restaurant, he imagined his secret recipe in every kitchen across America. Their imagination had precision, clarity, and an almost obsessive level of detail. When you imagine your wealth, you must see it specifically. Not just a lot of money, but the exact amount. Not just financial freedom, but the specific lifestyle that freedom provides. Not just success, but the particular achievements that define success for you. Your imagination responds to specificity the way a GPS responds to an exact address. It can guide you to your destination only when it knows precisely where you want to go. This specificity must be paired with intensity. Weak imagination produces weak results. Casual imagination produces casual results. But intense imagination, imagination charged with emotion, backed by unwavering faith, sustained by relentless persistence, produces extraordinary results. Consider the story of Mary Kay Ash, who at age 45 found herself divorced, struggling to support her family, passed over for promotion after promotion by men with half her experience. She could have imagined herself as a victim, as someone the world had treated unfairly. Instead, she imagined herself as the founder of a company that would empower women to achieve financial independence. She imagined it so vividly, so passionately, that her imagination created Mary Kay Cosmetics, which became a billion-dollar empire and made thousands of women millionaires. Her imagination wasn't wishful thinking, it was creative force. She didn't just picture success, she lived in the feeling of success. She didn't just see her company, she felt the satisfaction of building something. She didn't just dream of wealth, she experienced the joy of sharing that wealth with others. This is the difference between imagination and fantasy. Imagination feels real because it is real. It's reality, its formative stage. Your imagination is the preview of your coming attraction. What you consistently imagine with feeling, you inevitably experience in fact. This is not metaphysics, it's the fundamental law of consciousness. Your subconscious mind, that vast intelligence that controls every involuntary function of your body, doesn't distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you physically experience. It accepts as true whatever you consistently present to it through imagination and immediately begins working to make that imagined reality your lived experience. But imagination alone is not enough. You must inhabit your imagination. You must live from it, not just in it. You must assume the feeling of your wealth before you see the evidence of your wealth. You must experience the emotions of freedom before you taste the reality of freedom. You must be rich in consciousness before you become rich in circumstances. This requires a fundamental shift in identity. You must stop seeing yourself as someone who wants wealth and start seeing yourself as someone who has wealth. You must stop identifying with your current financial situation and start identifying with your imagined financial destiny. You must stop being the person who hopes for freedom and start being the person who embodies freedom. Sam Walton understood this principle when he opened his first 5-and-dime store in Arkansas. He didn't see himself as a small-town retailer. He imagined himself as the founder of the world's largest retail chain. He lived from that imagination, made decisions from that imagination, built his business from that imagination. His imagination created Walmart, which became the largest company in the world by revenue. The shift from wanting to having, from hoping to knowing, from dreaming to being, this is where imagination becomes creation. This is where thoughts become things. This is where consciousness becomes cash flow. But this shift requires courage, because it means abandoning the familiar prison of limitation for the unfamiliar territory of possibility. It means releasing your grip on excuses, victim stories, and reasons why wealth and freedom are impossible for you. It means accepting complete responsibility for your financial reality, not as blame, but as power. Because if you created your current situation through unconscious imagination, you can create a new situation through conscious imagination. The process begins with clarity. You must know exactly what wealth means, not what it means to your parents, your friends, or society. What it means to you. Is it the freedom to travel anywhere at any time? Is it the ability to provide generously for your family? Is it the power to fund causes you believe in? Is it the security of never worrying about money again? Is it the joy of building something meaningful that outlasts your lifetime? Your definition of wealth becomes the blueprint for your imagination. If wealth means freedom to you, then you must imagine freedom in vivid detail. What does your free life look like? Where do you live? How do you spend your days? Who do you spend them with? What brings you joy? What gives you purpose? The more detailed your imagination, the more powerful its creative force. If wealth means security to you, then you must imagine security complete. What does financial security feel like in your body? How does it change the way you walk, talk, and carry yourself? How does it affect your relation? How does it influence your decision? You must inhabit the feeling of security so completely that insecurity becomes impossible. If wealth means impact to you, then you must imagine your influence expanding. See the lives you're touching, the problems you're solving, the change you're creating. Feel the satisfaction of making a difference, the fulfillment of contributing something meaningful to the world. Your imagination must encompass not just the having, but the being, not just the getting, but the giving. This detailed imagination must be sustained consistently, persistently, relentless. Most people imagine their wealth for a few minutes and then spend the rest of the day imagining their poverty. They see their dream house in the morning and then worry about their mortgage payment all afternoon. They envision their business empire before lunch and then stress about their bills after dinner. This contradictory imagination cancels itself out, creating more of the same instead of something new. Consistency is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. Every time you return to your wealth imagination, you're adding another layer to its creative power. Every time you feel the emotions of financial freedom, you're deepening the groove in your consciousness that will become your experience. Every time you live from your imagined wealth instead of your current circumstances, you're choosing your future over your past. Ray Kroc was 52 years old, selling milkshake machines. When he first imagined the McDonald's, he didn't just see one successful restaurant, he imagined thousands of identical restaurants serving millions of customers around the world. He imagined the systems, the standards, the culture, the impact. He held this imagination so consistently, so passionately, that it overcame every obstacle, every setback, every reason to quit. His imagination created the largest restaurant chain in history. But imagination must be married to action. You cannot imagine your way to wealth while sitting on your couch. You cannot dream your way to freedom while avoiding risk. You cannot think your way to success while refusing to work. Imagination provides the vision, but action provides the vision. Imagination shows you where you're going, but action takes you there. The key is to let your imagination guide your action. Don't take action based on your current circumstances. Take action based on your imagined destination. Don't make decisions from where you are, make decisions from where you're going. Don't think like your current self. Think like your future self. When Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job for being too emotionally invested in her stories, she could have imagined herself as unemployable, as too sensitive for the business, as destined for failure. Instead, she imagined herself as a voice for the voiceless, as a bridge between hearts, as a force for healing and transformation. Every action she took from that moment forward was guided by this imagination. Her imagination created the most successful talk show in television history and made her one of the most influential women in the world. Your actions become powerful when they're aligned with your imagination. When what you do matches what you say. When how you behave reflects who you're becoming. When your daily choices support your ultimate vision, this is when ordinary people accomplish extraordinary things. But aligned action requires faith because you must act as if your imagination is already real, even when your senses tell you otherwise. You must invest in your business while it's still small. You must network with successful people while you're still You must learn the skills of wealth while you're still building wealth. You must carry yourself with the confidence of success while you're still creating success. This faith is not blind. It's based on the immutable law that imagination, when sustained with feeling and supported by action, always manifests as experience. This law has never failed anyone who has truly applied it. It didn't fail Carnegie when he imagined his steel empire. It didn't fail Ford when he imagined his automotive revolution. It didn't fail Disney when he imagined his entertainment kingdom. And it will not fail you when you imagine your wealth and freedom. But beware of the imagination of limitation. Just as you can imagine wealth, you can imagine poverty. Just as you can imagine freedom, you can imagine bondage. Just as you can imagine success, you can imagine failure. Most people are masters of negative imagination. They imagine worst-case scenarios with the intensity that successful people reserve for best-case scenarios. They rehearse their failures with the passion that wealthy people apply to their victories. Your imagination is always working. The question is it working for you or against you? Are you imagining your way into the life you want, or imagining your way into the life you don't want? Every moment of worry is imagination focused on what you don't want. Every moment of fear is imagination creating scenarios of defeat. Every moment of doubt is imagination building cases for impossibility. Master your imagination, and you master your financial destiny. But mastery requires vigilance. You must guard your imagination like a sentinel guards a treasure. You must question every image that doesn't serve your highest good. You must replace limiting imaginations with empowering ones before they take root in your consciousness. This mental discipline separates the wealthy from the poor, the free from the enslaved, the successful from the struggling. The wealthy don't just imagine differently, they discipline their imagination differently. They don't allow random thoughts to run wild in their mind. They don't permit fear-based scenarios to play unchecked. They consciously, deliberately, consistently direct their imagination toward their desired outcomes. J.K. Rowling was a single mother on welfare when she began imagining the Harry Potter series. She could have imagined herself as a victim of circumstances, as destined for poverty, as too old and too broke to succeed as a writer. Instead, she imagined her stories touching millions of readers around the world. She imagined the books, the films, the theme parks, the global phenomenon. Even when 12 publishers rejected her manuscript, she continued to imagine success. Her disciplined imagination created the most successful book series in history and made her richer than the Queen of England. Your imagination is not subject to external validation. It doesn't require permission from others, approval from experts, or evidence from your circumstances. It requires only your unwavering commitment to seeing, feeling, and living your desired reality in your mind until it becomes your physical reality. The moment you truly commit to disciplined imagination, the entire universe begins conspiring to make your vision real. Opportunities appear that were invisible before. People enter your life who can help you. Resources become available that were previously beyond reach. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. This is not coincidence, it's consciousness in action. Your imagination is sending out invisible signals that attract matching circumstances into your life. When you imagine wealth consistently, you begin to notice opportunities for wealth that were always there but previously invisible. When you imagine freedom persistently, you start to see paths to freedom that were always available but previously unrecognized. When you imagine success relentlessly, you begin to attract the people, situations, and resources that make success inevitable. But attraction is only half the equation. You must also become the kind of person who can receive, handle, and multiply wealth. You must develop the consciousness that can sustain freedom. You must build the character that can manage success. This transformation happens not through willpower, but through imagination. When you consistently imagine yourself as wealthy, you begin to think like a wealthy person. When you persistently imagine yourself as free, you start to make decisions like a free person. When you relentlessly imagine yourself as successful, you naturally develop the habits of successful. Your imagination doesn't just attract your desires, it transforms you into the person capable of receiving them. This transformation is perhaps the most important aspect of the entire process, because wealth without the consciousness to sustain it is temporary. Freedom without the wisdom to use it is meaningless. Success without the character to handle it is dangerous. But when your imagination changes you from the inside out, when it transforms your identity as well as your circumstances, then your wealth becomes permanent, your freedom becomes purposeful, and your success becomes meaningful. Carnegie understood this when he said that poverty is attracted to the one whose mind is favorable to it, just as money is attracted to the one who understands the laws governing wealth creation. He wasn't just talking about external laws, he was talking about the internal law of imagination. The poor imagine poverty and become poorer. The wealthy imagine wealth and become wealthier. It's not just what you have that determines your financial future. It's what you consistently imagine having. This is why gratitude becomes essential to the practice of wealth-building imagination. When you're grateful for your imagined wealth before it manifests, you're treating your imagination as if it's already real. Gratitude is imagination in action. It's living from the end result rather than living for the end result. When you thank the universe for your imagined prosperity, your imagined freedom, your imagined success, you're strengthening the very imagination that will create these experiences. But gratitude must be genuine, felt in your heart, not just spoken with your lips. You must feel as grateful for your imagined wealth as you would for actual wealth. This depth of feeling is what transforms imagination from mental exercise into creative force. It's what separates those who manifest their desires from those who merely hope for them. The practice of wealth-building imagination also requires you to inhabit your vision completely. You cannot imagine wealth for an hour and then worry about money for the rest of the day. You cannot dream of freedom in the morning and then feel trapped all afternoon. You cannot envision success before bed and then doubt yourself upon waking. Your imagination must become your dominant mental state, not just an occasional visitor to your consciousness. This doesn't mean forcing artificial positivity or denying reality. It means choosing which reality you're going to focus on, your current circumstances or your intended destination. It means deciding whether you're going to live from your past or create from your future. It means determining whether you're going to be a victim of your conditions or the architect of your dreams. Steven Spielberg began sneaking onto movie studio lots when he was 17 years old, setting up an office in an abandoned trailer and conducting business as if he belonged there. He wasn't pretending to be a director, he was imagining himself into being a director. He was living from his vision instead of from his circumstances. His imagination was so complete, so convincing, that studio executives began treating him as if he actually worked there. This imaginative audacity launched the career of the most successful filmmaker in history. Your imagination must be audacious. It must be bold enough to transcend your current limitations, brave enough to challenge conventional wisdom, and brilliant enough to see possibilities that others miss. Timid imagination produces timid results. Conservative imagination produces conservative outcomes. But audacious imagination that dares to dream beyond the boundaries of the probable, produces extraordinary breakthrough. The gap between imagination and manifestation is where most people lose faith. They imagine their wealth for days or weeks or months, and when they don't see immediate results, they abandon their vision and return to their old patterns of thinking. They don't understand that imagination is like planting a seed. The time between planting and harvest is not evidence that the seed won't grow, but proof that it's growing invisibly beneath the surface. Every great fortune required someone to hold their vision longer than seemed reasonable, to maintain their imagination despite contrary evidence, to persist in their belief when logic suggested giving up. Bill Gates imagined a computer on every desk and in every home when computers filled entire rooms and cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Jeff Bezos imagined an everything store when e-commerce was still an experiment. Elon Musk imagined electric vehicles dominating the automotive industry when experts declared them impossible. They understood that the period between imagination and manifestation is not empty time, it's gestation time. It's the period when invisible forces are orchestrating circumstances, aligning resources, and preparing the way for your vision to become reality. During this time, you must maintain your imagination with the same faith that a farmer maintains while waiting for his crop to grow. This faith is strengthened by understanding that you're not trying to convince the universe to give you wealth. You're aligning yourself with the wealth that already exists. You're not begging for freedom, you're claiming the freedom that is your birthright. You're not hoping for success, you're stepping into the success that imagination has already created. The universe is not withholding wealth from you, you're withholding yourself from wealth through limited imagination. Abundance is the natural state of existence. Scarcity is the artificial state created by impoverished thinking. Freedom is your natural condition. Bondage is the temporary condition created by enslaved imagination. Success is your intended destiny. Failure is the detour created by defeated thinking. When you understand this truth, when you truly grasp that wealth and freedom are not prizes to be won but states to be inhabited, everything changes. You stop chasing success and start embodying it. You stop pursuing wealth and start assuming it. You stop seeking freedom and start living it. This transformation from seeker to finder, from pursuer to possessor, from dreamer to achiever, this is the ultimate goal of wealth-building imagination. It's not just about accumulating money or acquiring assets. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts wealth, who effortlessly creates value, who automatically generates abundance wherever they go. Your imagination is the key to this transformation. Not wishful thinking, not idle fantasy, but disciplined, directed, emotionally charged imagination that sees clearly, feels deeply, and believes completely. This is the power that built every fortune, created every breakthrough, and transformed every life that has ever been transformed. The time has come to claim this power. The time has come to stop imagining limitations and start imagining possibilities. The time has come to stop dreaming small and start thinking monumental. The time has come to use your imagination not as an escape from reality, but as the creator of reality. Your wealth is waiting in your imagination. Your freedom is alive in your vision. Your success is real in your mind. Now make it real in your world. Imagine it, feel it, become it. The universe is waiting for your command.